Hello everyone, we are here for the Car Guy on a different location today. We are at Downing's Autobody down here in Campustown in Peoria. And Dave's going to tell me a little bit about what goes on here and the history of himself. But the reason I chose Downing's here is because we actually refer a lot of customers to Dave's place, mainly because of the quality of work that he does and the reputation that he has. And I've never had a customer come back and say they were disappointed in what Dave did. So I was interested in that. And when somebody has a track record like that, I'm always intrigued to go, what goes on behind the scenes? I'm sure there's nothing magic, but there's something that Dave's doing right that I'd love him to be able to explain to the audience, and maybe tell a little bit of his background. So I'm going to ask Dave. Sure. Tell me some of your history. Tell me when you started, what went on, who started it.
Right.
You probably have a little similar history like we do with my grandpa starting our business back in 1951. So take it away, Dave.
All right. Well, the bed's been around since 1928. My grandfather started it in 28 as a mechanic shop down by the location where the Civic Center currently is. And then it got moved a couple different locations. In fact, it used to be right off of Main Street, right over behind the Shell gas station. Yeah, and then my dad took it over in 64, slowly turned it into basically just all body work, although he did a lot of mechanical as well. And then, like I say, in 64, he took it over and turned it mainly into body work. And now it's just me running it as a third generation family business. And now it's just all body work, so I refer any mechanical work to other sources like Beatrice, for instance. And it's just been going for years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. People always
Okay.
are interested in
Me?
personally.
Well, as a kid, I used to come up here and drive my brothers nuts, or vice versa. They used to drive me nuts, and you know, we always just came in as business in the summertime, and I just grew into it. I've never worked anywhere else. This is all I've ever done. So yeah,
This is your DNA and your
this
blood.
is it.
That's
yeah,
great.
just
Great.
all my father's footsteps.
So tell me a little bit about how the industry has changed since you've come in decades ago. What's changed about it? I'm sure there's a lot of things that have stayed the same, but is
There has
anything
been
in
a lot of
particular?
change. Yeah, for instance, a lot of the materials they use today, you know, now you have rubber bumpers as opposed to chrome bumpers. So there you got to do with the different types of plastics that are on cars, the different types of metals. We're talking aluminum now. Now with the new Ford trucks coming out, we got aluminum bodies, which, to be honest with you, I'm not currently set up to even work on them. So that's something that's been coming down the pipe.
Technology may be
yeah.
coming.
Yeah, technology's coming, and a lot of change is coming, even in that. But yeah, we're able to, and then painting, of course. A lot of your products are all urethane products now, and they even getting into waterborne paints, which a lot of your manufacturers have been using for some years now. Yeah, it's waterborne paints.
Right.
So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the process that's going on with this vehicle. You know, maybe run through the steps and.
Sure.
You know, most people, here's what we're doing. We're lifting the veil of being able to see inside of a body shop. Most people don't get to see this type of stuff. I think it's somewhat interesting. You know it. It's your everyday. It's what you do every day. So it's maybe not as interesting to you, but you know, for the folks out there, to be able to see what you're doing, I call it artwork. It's not like what we do. What we do is mechanical work. What you guys are doing is artwork, and I'm always intrigued by what makes a good body shop guy versus a not so good body shop guy. So
basically, you want to get the basic metal shape of the panel originally back to its original shape, and any minor dents or imperfections in the metal, you put some filler over, or Bondo, as a lot of people like to call it. But if you do it properly and do it right, and you take the right steps in doing it, it's never going to be a problem unless it gets hit again.
Sure.
And so, what like I say, we got going on here is just since repairing a quarter panel on this side. Now the other side, because you don't see it at the time, we did put a new quarter panel on that side.
Okay.
So that side's got a new quarter because it was damaged beyond repair.
Okay.
You just got to weigh out between what's repairable and what needs to be replaced.
Okay. So I'm guessing
yeah.
this car was hit from behind because that number looks like it's a replacement part
Right.
from the.
This is a used hatch.
Used
that
hatch,
we got
okay.
Put on here. That's why it's white, not black.
Okay.
Because we haven't got to the painting yet. So a lot
So-
of times they use used parts and
Yeah.
repairs.
Yeah, and that's acceptable.
It is.
It is
So,
acceptable in our
yeah,
industry.
A lot of times you get used parts. Sometimes they want to put aftermarket parts on cars, which saves consumers money compared to the OEM.
Okay.
And a lot of times your insurance companies want to use that to mark parts or use because it lessens the
Right.
cost of that repair.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So tell me about, like, when this car was hit, was the frame bent?
it was.
So tell me about the process when you have a bent frame, what occurs and what
Well,
can people,
we've got
like, not see?
We've got a couple frame machines here in the shop that we put it on the frame machine. We tie the vehicle down, and then we got hydraulic rams that we use to pull it out.
Okay.
And get it within specs of where
Huh.
it was. And then we also got a measuring system that we put underneath the car, and it's actually sonar. It's a sonar measuring system that we set up little points on the car, and it measures specifically within about 0.3 or within a millimeters.
Really?
Millimeters, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, within the specs of that car. or
Okay.
that vehicle, yeah.
So I notice here, all the back interior's taken out.
is.
That's an absolute, you've got to do that when a car gets crunched from the rear like this, an SUV.
Right, depending on what we're doing, in this case, the reason for the interior to be all out is because in putting the quarter panel on, you gotta be able to access the inside of it, so when you get the quarter panel welded on,
Okay.
and you wanna clean up on the inside, put some sealer, put some,
Okay.
sealants under there, keep it from rusting.
Okay.
So you wanna do that.
So I've got to ask you this.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
dog tracking, when a car's dog tracking, can you tell, when you see a car going down the road, can you tell if a repair was not done right? By looking at how it tracks?
You can.
You
And
can.
that's just because of the trained eye of doing this all my years.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
kind of figured that, and I've not been in the body shop
Right.
industry, but I can tell when a car is what they call dog tracking. I'll explain that. But
Right.
basically, the rear tires are not following the front tires, and it's literally walking like a dog walks down the street.
Right. And that could be a number of reasons causing that. It could be because of, they didn't do the repair properly to where the suspension's not lined up, or even it could be within the frame of the vehicle, depending on what kind of
Okay.
a setup of it. If it's
So-
a full frame type vehicle, it's a possibility you can get what you call a diamond shaped frame.
Oh,
If it's
okay.
hit hard enough, it will actually diamond frame to where one side's further back than the other.
Okay.
Which in this case, it wouldn't cause a vehicle to dog track. as you say.
So should a good trained eye be able to detect that on a car?
You can if you study it enough,
Okay.
and with some measurements.
Okay.
If it's a simple tape measure.
Okay.
You can sometimes determine that, yeah.
Okay, okay.
absolutely, yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to tell us about this artwork you've got going on in this car?
Well, obviously, within doing the repair work, the body work, once we get that to the point of being smooth to where we get it to the paint side, we prime it, let that usually sit overnight, come back in and do blocks. We block sand to where it's smooth, and it gets ready for paint.
Okay,
And then after that, we do the paint work, and then typically we do paint work, and we bake it. We bake it also at about 160 degrees. So
Okay.
it's
And we'll,
about what the
we'll walk some people in here in just a minute, kind of show you the paint booth and what they do in there. So, and if you want to, we can walk in there right now. I noticed when I was talking to Wayne, one of your guys here, he said, "Oh my goodness, this is a problem child."
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's
It
a
was
lot of work.
A lot of work on this one. In fact,
Lot-
we've already replaced the frame piece here.
Yeah.
That bar has already been replaced and painted, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll walk the camera into the
Paint booth.
paint booth. I'm sorry, not the frame bending area. I keep wanting to see a frame bending. That's what's going on. And Dave's going to kind of give us a little brief tour of the booth in there. What actually goes on inside there, Dave?
Right, well, what we got going on is we're painting a truck right now that we painted a fender and a door, and painting in a paint booth, you eliminate a lot of the dirt that you might have if it were to be out in the shop. And after the paint work is done, we clear coat it, and then after we do that, we come out, we set the booth to a bake position, which bakes it up to 160 degrees and fully cures it. So within about 20 to 30 minutes after it's been baked, we pull the vehicle out, let it sit for about an hour, and then we can even buff it as soon as the same day.
Oh, no kidding.
So, yeah, and then it's pretty much fully cured after we bake it.
So is painting a lot like home painting or prep work? There's
no.
in terms of there's a lot of preparation that goes in before you
There
can
is.
paint.
The prep work is where all the
That's
work
where the
is.
time comes
The
in.
painting is not too much of a big deal,
Yeah.
maybe hour and a half.
Okay.
Once everything's prepped and masked,
Okay.
you can get them painted, yeah.
Anything else you want to tell us about that cool piece of machinery in there? No? Okay.
That's
Pretty
much the
simple, but
pretty basics of it, yeah.
pretty basic item on it. So, okay, so as the camera comes back in here, I'll keep my talk going, and I'm going to ask Dave the next question. How how are you different? How do you differentiate yourself from other shops in the Peoria area? And I know, and like our industry, I know there's a lot of great mechanical shops around. We're not in the business to down other shops, but. And you know there's other good body shops here.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually present myself to some clients in that regard, just because I don't like to put myself on a pedestal and say, yeah, I'm the best one.
Exactly.
You got to come to me. No,
Exactly.
I don't push consumers or customers into coming here.
Okay.
You know, but ultimately, boy, I'd have to say, just because of longevity, the life of the business that's been here, I think that has a lot of value to a lot of consumers that have not been here. Is the
Sure.
fact that we have been here a lot of years.
Sure.
And that has a lot of value to people. And the fact that it was family owned and operated.
That's
That
huge.
makes a huge difference to a lot of people.
Yeah,
The
a lot
fact
of it.
that The longevity, the family owned and operated part of it, and just the fact they've had referrals from other people, their neighbors, their friends, relatives.
Right.
And I get a lot of referrals. In fact, I'm working on a lot of the kids' cars that I've worked for their parents years ago. Yeah,
Exactly.
Same.
I noticed the last
Yeah.
couple times I've been in, your mom's been here, and that's kind of
Yeah.
neat to see.
She kind
You
of
know,
helps out, and she comes
keeps
up
keeps the
on
blood
Thursdays.
going.
It does.
So
Yeah.
it's cool to see. So
Yeah. Keeps me in check.
that keeps you in check. That's a good. That's your wife's job too.
Yeah, exactly.
So last question or last statement. Any tips you can give folks when they're out looking for a body shop? What are they to look for? Because look, the bottom line is we get this question all the time. I don't know who to go to because I don't ever do this kind of stuff. Who should I go to? What can you tell folks that are out there looking for body
One of the
shops?
biggest questions you can ask another shop after you get an estimate from them: how is the car being repaired? What kind of parts are you putting on my vehicle?
Okay.
You know, what are you repairing? What are you replacing? And what kind of guarantees do you have? And what kind of guarantees are on the parts, whether it be used, new, or aftermarket? Sometimes your aftermarket parts have a lifetime warranty. Like for instance, wheels. I can get a reconditioned wheel from a company, and it has a lifetime warranty on that
Okay.
wheel. To where a lot of your manufacturer parts have a 90-day warranty.
Good point.
Where sometimes the aftermarket, in some cases, may be a better option, depending on what it is,
Okay.
part-wise. Sometimes the OEM is a better part. But again, you just want to ask that shop, how are they repairing my car?
Okay.
Yeah,
And
what kind of guarantees?
Dave just referred to OEM,
Right.
and what that means is original equipment manufacturing
Correct.
part. Okay.
Sorry.
So no, that's okay because we use acronyms and jargon all the
Right,
time, and I have to
right,
stop
right.
myself and go, wait a minute, do they know
Sure.
what an OE part is?
Sure, absolutely.
So anyway, so that's how you're different. Again, the reason why we refer people to Dave is just because of the quality work that he does. He takes care of our customers. You know, it's just like any type of referral. Whenever I send somebody off to somebody, I don't really want to hear bad reports back, and I've yet to hear a bad report back from the customers that we send to Dave. So I guess that kind of wraps it up. Any other highlights you want to tell us about your shop?
Well, I think that pretty much
sums it up.
Pretty much covers it up.
So yeah, so thanks for joining us today. On the car guy, we're kind of went to a body shop and deviated a little bit, but I did want to kind of highlight Dave and the awesome work that they do down here. But again, it's Downing's Autobody down off Main Street. You're on what street again?
Wyndham Street.
Wyndham Street, okay. Wyndham Street, real close to Bradley University. So anybody looking for a quality body shop, see Downing's Autobody. But that wraps it up for today. On the car guy, I'm Brett Beechler. This is Dave Downing, and I appreciate your time for doing this, Dave.
Thanks again.
Yes, you're
Yep,
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.